tough one to call. As with most of the top fours in the coronation days, all these players that make it this far are really adept at doing what they do. So I'm going to take a look at briantRT's deck. Right?
Okay.
It's going to be Hog Lightning and Expo. So we're familiar with Expo, and we're somewhat familiar with Hog Lightning. I think that briantRT plays Hog Lightning really, really well, able to overcome Bowler, which Mango happens to have.
Okay.
All right, rub him.
What do you
Mango's
think
deck.
about
Ooh, man, Mango has two decks that are pretty comfortable against the Hog Lightning deck. I think the Expo, I mean, actually, Mango has some pretty strong matchups here because the Giant Bowler deck is going to pair up really well against the Expo deck. And of course, we saw how tough it is. Even though briantRT pulled it out, how many times can that hogrider win an unfavorable matchup before going down? I think Mango might even be favored in this match because of the deck choices. I agree briantRT is probably the better technical player, but it's really hard to overcome these 70-30 matchups, right, where you're not really favored to win that often.
Okay,
Now,
this will be interesting.
again, same question. Which deck do you bring first? So if you're briantRT, what do you think is either his strongest or the one that he really wants to place against Mango?
I think you want to start with... I would say start with your Hog Rider deck because your Expo, you already know. I feel like the Expo is a worse matchup than the Hog Rider matchup.
All right, well, let's see which ones they bring, ladies and gentlemen. Our final semi-final event for Coronation Day number 4. Will briantRT or Mango be moving on to the finals? So join Backstab. Let's find out.
This is the Hog Lightning deck out of briantRT and the Giant Bowler out of Mango. So this will be a pretty tough matchup for briantRT out of the gate. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is actually, well, actually both are going to be a pretty tough matchup for briantRT. Worth noting, the only Ice Wizard in the entire top 8.
Oh, wow. He didn't do
Ice
the
Wizard,
Hog jump.
very, very strong card.
The Hog Rider didn't actually do the jump on that corner edge of the map, and so it went all the way over to that tombstone on kind of the left end of the middle field for Mango, and that's something that you actually really need to make sure you do. Hog jumping is very, very important, and if you're a Hog Rider player, absolutely critical to your skill set.
Double slowing effect. You've got the Ice Wizard and, of course, the freeze out of the Ice Spirit is really... Wow, that Giant only got one punch, even though he was played right at the river, and it didn't seem like there'd be a lot of great answers. The Musketeer is far more deadly, though. A Musketeer at full health does, I believe, about 900 damage to a tower, and even though that Musketeer got hit a little bit by a log, it was able to still do a significant chunk of damage.
Bowler comes across the river, and the Mega Minion will be able to make short work of it. Air superiority, again, that we see so often. Hog Rider actually makes it to the tower and gets 2 swings.
Wow.
That's a big opening, but that's only catching up to the damage that Mango has already done. We're starting to see why it's tough to play Hog Rider in this matchup.
I actually think it might be better for Mango to not play the Tombstone in the center, but actually use it reactively against the Hog Rider, and actually try to play it in front, because as you see what happened there, the skeletons are slower than the Hog Rider, so as soon as that tower goes down, yeah, 4 skeletons pop out, but if they're getting outrun by the Hog Rider, kind of what's the point?
Right.
You put it directly in front of the tower, you make yourself a little vulnerable to log, but at least those skeletons are going to completely shred the Hog Rider once they spawn.
I'm pretty sure they also, don't they block him from even getting a swing? 'Cause he's trying to like move around him. And...
It can, but yeah. If it extends the pathing even at all, you're getting extra tower shots in, and it can really add up. Once the skeletons to follow up behind the Giant to add a little bit of extra threat behind that. The reason why the Princess is played so far away is he doesn't want to be vulnerable to spells like Lightning. I think Lightning is the last card in that deck, and it is. So he doesn't want to give him a good Lightning with an Ice Wizard, Princess, Mega Minion, whatever.
Oh,
great
wow.
log. 1 swing. 2 swings. Is he going to 30? Oh, he doesn't.
Bowler.
Good old Bowler. Having a lot of fun. Oh, now here's the reason why the Princess was played so far away is you don't want to give up easy arrows either. Arrows, of course, does a not great amount of damage to tower, but does kill the Princess. Whoa, what a lightning!
Oh, doesn't get a swing with the Hog Rider, but still, Hog Lightning is kind of the big kind of coup de grace move that briantRT has, and he needs to execute that very soon.
Oh no, he meant for that Giant to catch the Princess, right?
Yes, I believe so. And the Giant is going to make its way across the river. If somehow briantRT can stop this Giant, oh, it's looking tough. Zapped away is the Skeleton Army. Meanwhile, the Musketeer is doing a lot of damage, but actually briantRT is not concerned about that side. Log might be the big thing that changes up the push, and I think he's going to defend it. This is going to provide briantRT another opportunity. I think what he needs to look out for is punish a drop by Mango. I actually don't like the fact that he had to play his Hog Rider there in that situation.
Oh, not
but
great, but a
86
wall
health.
win.
No, where's the defense?
The swing!
Log.
He has log there. Oh my! How does briantRT do this?
That close.
I have no idea how briantRT does this. time and time again against a bowler, he plays.
Yeah, he's a hog. He's just a hog rider master.
Are you a fan of hogrider, Christian?
No.
Never played the card?
Never seen it.
Huh.
Yeah. I love his scream. When he screams across, it's hog rider! It's just like, oh, it's my favorite thing. Yeah, here, check it out.
Yeah, buddy.
He let us borrow it. He's a great guy, super nice, really into Pilates.
You're holding them the wrong way. Yeah,
Oh,
there
well,
we go.
you know what? This
That
side,
looks way more
This is
effective.
the side that actually cracks the tower, I would argue.
Yeah,
That's true.
The other side's the skull cracker.
It's designed to.
It might be a little more damage.
Anyways.
Don't worry, hogriders only attack
Yeah, no, yeah.
buildings.
You're no threat.
It's very true.
So we saw a little bit of Ice Wizard in that deck. We don't see him a lot. Was it a plus, or should he have used something else?
I would say Ice Wizard is more of a victim of the current meta because a lot of the
Yeah.
popular decks he doesn't match up so great against. Ice Wizard actually takes 2 hits to kill skeletons. So he's not like maybe as good at clearing out
Really?
swarms. Yeah, Princess will kill them all in one shot, but he does like 4 health
Back
less
to
than
those
the
noodles.
Right, it's just right there.
Yeah.
So he actually takes 2 shots to kill him. So that he's not great against all the skeleton arms, not great against guards. He was much better when cards like Minion Horde and Barbarians were very, very popular. But when was the last time you saw a squad of Barbs?
Nope, not at all.
Never.
Ice Wizard also operates really well against big bodies. And so that's actually something that is very worth it because they move so slow. Imagine if you put an Inferno Tower and you have an Ice Wizard assisting it, things like Giant, Bowler, Royal Giant, all of those attack slow,
they
they
just
move
stop.
slow. Yeah, really, really just, it's almost like they're going backwards.
All right, briantRT now up 1-0 against Mango. If he picks up this victory, he'll be moving on to the finals to join Backstab. Let's see if he can take it, or will Mango be able to do it?
All right, Expo in the middle. And it looks like briantRT will play the Mega Minion.
briantRT, even though, I was totally wrong. I really thought that Hog Lightning deck was, that he was going to get stopped by the Bowler. We have seen Giant Bowler perform very, very well against Expo. So again, he's going to have to kind of overcome a bad matchup, but this is showing that technical play is really skilled. We call them, like 70-30 matchups, like you would expect to win 70% of the time with a Giant Bowler deck, but that means 3 out of 10 times you're going to lose, and briantRT knows exactly what to do to squeeze out those wins.
If the theme of the last Coronation Day was Cold War, today's theme is definitely overcoming impossible odds,
Yes.
right? And I think that both briantRT and Backstab and even T-Bone in many ways have done that.
If Brian and Backstab meet in the finals, we'll have a new first letter.
That's right, we're going way before.
Yeah, right. The alphabet's getting all mixed up.
I would be glad if either of them get there because then our grade letter is going up.
But check out Mango. Mango has a significant, because that Giant was such a good counter to the Expo. Look at this, 4 elixir advantage right now for Mango. That allows him to play this Bowler almost for free. Like, he gets the Bowler on the board, and look, they're about at the same elixir again.
Yeah.
It depends on how much he can get out of this free Bowler, but presuming that briantRT's Inferno Tower gets stifled by something, a zap, lightning, whatever, this could go very, very well for Mango. This is the opportunity for Mango to convert his elixir advantage into actual damage on the tower.
I'm actually 2 ways about playing the Expo as defense of that Bowler. That means that he will have Inferno Tower for sure for the next Expo that he plays to stop the Giant, but also it's not as effective as an Inferno Tower in terms of stopping the Bowler from doing damage. Obviously, briantRT didn't take too much, but it's just an interesting observation.
And I think when you have an elixir advantage, it becomes even more important that you don't leak elixir at all because you are ceding your advantage right then. Right. And Mango's been doing that a little bit. He keeps hitting 10, and even though he's playing something within maybe a half elixir or so, that keeps adding up, and your 4 elixir advantage can wither down to 2 elixir, 3 elixir, or 3 elixir, 2 elixir, and then maybe back to even. We saw that yesterday, actually.
briantRT actually just lets the Musketeer go, and he's trying to set up a crossbow just in time, but it's just between the Tombstone, the Bowler, and then the Giant. I don't know if briantRT has the cards at hand to really deal with this. We're 3 minutes into the game, and he's done little to no damage to Mango's
aside
towers.
from the fireball hitting, there hasn't been any. I'm surprised that Mango there didn't use the lightning on the Expo and the tower. Maybe it was placed just in a corner where it was out of range.
Inferno Tower is going to tag onto the Tombstone on the other side. There's a big lightning hurting all the structures. Musketeer gets taken down, but now there's a Giant on the left side that I don't know if briantRT has the available cards to deal with.
As we were talking about the wet noodle damage of an Expo, we saw right there it actually has to 3-hit each individual skeleton.
Yes.
2 shots of an Expo is not enough to kill a flimsy third of an elixir card.
Defended pretty well. Oh, gosh. Play the Tombstone. No, has to play the Giant. But it could get burned down by the Inferno Tower. And now Lightning has to go over to the other side. That's going to make the spell cycling less efficient for Mango. There is the Lightning. And Expo has a little bit of health left. But the big problem is that Lightning actually does so much damage to the actual health of the Expo.
Can't ignore the boulder though. Oh, when he does that was really close. That tower health is so low that even 1 or 2 boulder rolls would put it in range of a Lightning.
Yeah, and I think this Ice Column might not be enough. It's going to slow it down.
I think it's enough. Whoa!
Just enough.
Now we talk about knowing the exact mechanical plays. briantRT knew the exact square, the exact timing in order to counter. That's a +3 elixir trade right there. That's a 2 for 5.
That's the kind of thing that's keeping briantRT alive right now, but still not looking good because no matter how much of an elixir advantage you get, if you can't actually do damage to your opponent's tower, you're not going to be able to win the game. That's the only way you can push the game forward is actually doing damage to the towers.
You're right. I mean, I think the best thing briantRT can hope for right now is a draw. There's no way he's going to really be able to do 2,200 damage in the next minute. So I think what he's just trying to do is not take any damage on his tower and maybe, just maybe, survive. But I'm pretty sure a lightning cycle.
He doesn't have enough elixir to stop the Giant on the left, and he still has to deal with the right.
And lightning takes the game right here on the left side.
I think Mango took it back 1-1, and it's exactly like we talked about. Expo is so tough to get past the Giant, the Bowler, the Tombstone, and then even once those are cleared, you still have to deal with a Musketeer drop maybe, or even a Mega Minion hovering over your Expo. And then the Lightning on top of that. Everything in that deck seems to stop Siege from really doing its job well.
Okay. What do you think the VIP card for that game was? What stood out?
I mean, it's tough because it's actually sort of like they're the dynamic duo of Giant and Bowler. Okay, so actually this is a great concept we can talk about real fast here before we go into game 3. Ooh. Redundancy is one of the most important things in deck building. Redundancy means having multiple cards in your deck that do similar effects, have similar roles. Okay. In that case, Mango needed things that block an Expo, usually something with high health, good range, etc. Tombstone, Bowler, and Giant all sort of serve the same role as anti-Expo stifling. What that allowed him to do was comfortably play one of the cards, and if Expo comes down, you've got a lot of cards in your deck that can counter that. Yeah. And in that case, that's how he was able to build up these offensive pushes while not being vulnerable. Think about decks that only have Zap going up against a deck that has Skeleton Army, Goblin Barrel, lots of cards that you might want to zap. Sure. We're seeing a lot of these decks running Zap and Log and Arrows because they want redundant effects against low health swarms. And in that time, all of those big health anti-Expo cards really pulled it out for Mango.
All right, well, right now, briantRT and Mango are both tied up. They now have to win with these decks. The first person who does will be moving on to the final. Let's face off against Backstab.
See the 2 decks here. We have Mango's actually playing this very defensive Siege deck. It's really just minor Princess, Log, and Arrows in terms of things that are reasonably going to hit the tower. Skeleton Army, Mega Minion, Inferno Tower, and Ice Spirit round the deck out. briantRT, of course, still on the Expo deck.
Actually, I think the Inferno Tower was a bad answer to the Expo because now the Inferno Tower is really healthy. You've played all your elixir to try to damage the Expo, and briantRT had more than enough time to gather up the defenses to stop the push. Skeleton Army gets a few swings, but still, the damage has been done. 1.4k on Mango's left side, and not a good look.
What's going to be really interesting to, I think, look for is that Log did miss, I think, maybe 2 or 3 skeletons, which then allowed the Expo to go down a little bit earlier. It'll be interesting if it comes down to just a game of inches here. Yeah. That could have been it.
That absolutely. You could argue that the game was decided in the first minute because of those little things. Right. But you're oh no, that's not what briantRT necessarily wants to do. That's not only 4 elixir to 3 elixir, but the Princess already got a shot off, so you're down an elixir and took 140 to the tower for your attempt. Whoa, the Ice Spirit doubles back.
I'm coming!
The ice, that's actually good though, because it froze the miner, and when the miner came out of the freeze, it started attacking those guards instead. Saved a little bit of damage. The reason why in the first exchange, Mango played the Inferno Tower in the middle is because of all the guards up at the river, the Inferno Tower would have been often a worse situation. That time, with guards defending the miner and only Ice Golem to play in front of the Expo, Inferno Tower at the river was a great counter.
Had to play the Expo into the Inferno Tower and did not earn any damage off of that, but still, just like in the last game for briantRT, Mango doesn't seem to have a fantastic answer to getting damage. A little bit different because Miner is one of those things that is a little bit guaranteed, right? You play X amount of miners and you will win the game sometime in overtime.
Right, assuming they connect, and that's why we've seen so many cards like Skeleton Army be very, very strong. Oh no, Logs, I think already off. Oh, he just drew right back into it, but again, a few Skeletons happen to survive and do a little bit there.
The freeze needs to protect the Expo, and it's going to be Ice Golem. What a key card. I mean, talk about just right there. Ice Golem is earning its value. 2 elixir to really, this damage that the Expo is doing to the tower, that's 2 elixir spent to gain that.
I think Mango's really got to figure out a new strategy here very soon because he only has 15 seconds left, and that tower is within Fireball plus Log range. And I don't know, I think he can do it.
There's a Fireball, there's a Log, and now there's only 5 seconds for Mango to figure out something to push that tower down. I don't think he can make it. briantRT moves on to the finals. What an interesting turn of events.
That's right. So now, Rumham, we are going to have the bees. We're going to have
The bees.
one bee is going to be our winner for today's Coronation Day number 4 event.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting matchups. I mean, briantRT bringing the Hog Lightning to the finals. We saw that in Coronation Day 2 in the finals as well, so pretty strong. Oh, I'd like to actually see the replays of that match where we see the decks for the finals.
Let's do it. Let's go to the replay of the hogrider right now.
hogrider is such an interesting card. There we see that hogrider jumping across the river towards the 2 tombstones, but the Log takes down both of them, and the hogrider is able to connect to the tower despite the fact that the bowler is played. Getting 2 swings is a lot of value.
Right here with the Expo setup, you can see this is actually a really key thing for briantRT. If he had such a faster cycle deck, again, the Mega Minion, the Log, the Ice Golem, they're so cheap that it allowed him to actually watch this. He's going to get back to his Ice Golem before Mango gets back to his Inferno Tower.
Wow.
Yeah, and really the fact that the Ice Golem was able to tank the crossbow or tank the Mega Minion just for that small amount of time means that the Expo could turn then onto the tower.
Yeah.
And do a lot of damage.
Now, since we're probably going to be seeing the hogrider jumping thing like you were talking about, shall we go ahead and take it to the art corner?
I think so.
So I've been looking forward to Rainey's drawings all night.
All right, here we go.
Art corner time. So today's lesson is going to be about hogrider.
Love this. Today's lesson, kids.
Today's lesson is going to be about hogrider and also defensive structure placement because they kind of go hand in hand. So on this picture, we have the blue side, we have the red side, we also have these green circles that are showing up really poorly on the camera. Let's turn that into dirty brown. Let's do brown right here.
Oh yeah, there it is. It's like invisible ink, you know?
You see that now?
Curse you, green
A
screens!
little bit better. So normally you want to play the hogrider kind of at the edge of the map in this corner and then play another card there. That's that small dot here. You play another card right next to the hogrider so it pushes that hogrider into the wall, and as the hogrider goes across, it'll jump diagonally across the river. When it does that, first tower placed here. Now I have 2 lines demonstrating how far away it is. Typically, the 3 tile away from the closer crown tower and 4 tile away from the river is the perfect spot to put a tower because when the hogrider comes across and gets attracted by that building, it will get shot at by 2 towers. So that's where you would normally want to play your turret. But it's marked with an X because that spot, if you place your turret here and you have the hogrider jump in the manner that I have drawn out in this picture, it will actually be pushed far enough away that it'll ignore the defensive structure placed in the middle and will go straight to your crown tower and do a ton of damage. The correct placement is down here on the blue side. There's a little circle indicating that. It is 2 tiles away from the tower that it's closest to, and 4 tiles away from the river, puts it close enough to the tower that even if you jump the hogrider, it will go for the defensive structure instead.
Well, there you guys go. You are now all better players thanks to Rainey and his art corner. I'm gonna go ahead and save this and send this to my mom and tell her that I wrote
Yeah,
it.
perfect. Now,
You're just gonna plagiarize?
Oh yeah.
You should see.
Don't
you should
learn
see
from us.
Christian's mom's fridge. I mean, it's Starry Night. It's
Mom, I made all these for you. She's like, you're such an artist.
Okay, and here's the bracket that you also made up.
That's
for
right,
your-
yeah.
for
Look at
your
my
mom.
bracket that I created. Here we go. Backstab and briantRT are in the finals. These two players are battling out again, first place, taking home not only $2,000, but that chance to move on to the arena battles where 16 players will go. After the arena, 8 will go to the crown duels where there will be one player who will win $15,000 and that trip to Supercell HQ.
So cool. Okay. Who's it gonna be?
All right, yeah. So I thought it was briantRT, so he's in.
Drum roll.
But you guys are both saying backstab, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When
one
Royal
that
Giant
starts with
first
a
came
B.
out, worst card in the game. And I remember when I'm streaming, making YouTube videos, being like, this card sucks, why you play this card? I go, it's really cool mechanically. It's a
Yeah.
neat card.
Yeah.
It's a big tanky thing, shoots buildings, got a long range. And then with one change, one number got increased by 1. It became the
Meta.
most deadly, scary card in the game for several months until people started to learn to adapt against it.